That night felt off. The air was too still, and the little street at the edge of town where we were hanging out had this weird mix of heat and chill that made everything feel both calm and creepy at the same time. We just finished eating. Random jokes were flying around, until one of my buddies suddenly went quiet. There was this shadow on his face, like he just remembered something he really didn't want to talk about. I laughed and said, "Yo, what's up, man? Why you looking all serious all of a sudden?" He took a slow breath and said, "You ever heard of something that changes a person forever? Something that gets stuck in your head no matter how much you try to forget it." We all laughed at first, but the way he said it shut everyone up real quick. He leaned forward and said, "This happened to my grandpa on Diwali night. After that night, he never touched a deck of cards again." And then he started telling us this story, something that had only ever been talked about inside his family. He said his grandpa was from a time when old men used to chill outside till late, sitting on a small street corner, playing cards under the night sky. There was this little stone platform where 4 or 5 friends gathered every night, laughing, gossiping, and heading home after midnight. His grandma hated it. Every Diwali she'd complain, "One night at home won't kill you." But that night his grandpa still went because his friends insisted. The game started normal. Laughter, teasing, small arguments, same old vibe. But as the night dragged on, the air started feeling heavier. The leaves stopped rustling and this weird cold started creeping in. When the game ended, his grandpa grabbed his bicycle and headed home. It was late, pitch black, new moon Diwali night. No moonlight, just a few dim glows from far-off diyas still flickering on windowsills. The streets were empty, the smell of burnt sparklers and oil lamps still hanging in the air. My buddy described it so vividly that I swear I could picture myself pedaling down that same road. He said his grandpa saw a thin, pale man walking toward him from the shadows. The guy's face was long, eyes sunken deep, and his beard reached his chest. He was wearing a white kurta and pajama, the kind that looked like it hadn't been washed in forever. The man stopped and said softly, "Brother, where's the Madarsa?" His grandpa pointed ahead and said, "Go straight, then take the 3rd turn right." The man nodded, said salam, and walked away. Grandpa figured he was just some traveler who got lost that late at night. But when he reached the next turn, maybe 300 meters away, that same dude was standing there again. Same look, same words. "Brother, where's the Madarsa?" Grandpa froze. He told him again, thinking maybe the guy got confused, but something about it didn't feel right this time. He started pedaling faster. At the next turn, the air got colder, and there he was again. Same man, same face. By now, Grandpa was sweating hard. He didn't say a word, just pushed the pedals harder. But a few seconds later, when he looked ahead, the same man was right there in front of him again, like he'd risen straight out of the ground. My friend's voice dropped low when he said this. My grandpa swore that guy's eyes were locked on him. He didn't smile, didn't blink, just kept repeating the same damn line. "Where? The Madarsa." Now Grandpa was scared out of his mind. There wasn't a soul around. Even the stray dogs were silent. He started mumbling prayers under his breath and pedaled like crazy. The only sound was the rattling of the bike chain cutting through that dead silence. The road was lined with old walls, rundown houses, and a wide open field he used to pass every day. But that night, it all looked wrong. Everything was there but drained of color, like the world had gone gray. The lamps on rooftops were out, and even the wind felt dead. Then he saw the man again, this time, closer than before. The smell of old dust and decayed wood came off his clothes. Grandpa couldn't even tell if the guy's feet were touching the ground. The only thing in his mind, is this even human? He didn't dare look back, just kept riding faster until he hit the first turn into his neighborhood. But even there, he felt like someone was walking right beside him. No footsteps, no breathing, just a presence. My friend's words started to tremble. Man, my grandpa said the last time he saw that figure, it was standing near an old mosque, staring right at him. He never forgot those eyes. That night, his grandpa somehow made it home. His hands were shaking so bad he could barely knock. When his grandma opened the door, she said his face had turned pale, like all the blood had drained out. The next morning, he couldn't get out of bed. No fever, no injury, just this strange exhaustion, like something had sucked the life out of him. The doctor said it was nothing serious, but his grandpa never spoke about that night again. He quit playing cards completely, and whenever someone asked him why, he'd just say, "Every road has a destination. Some roads don't take you back." When my friend finished saying that line, he went quiet. There was this stillness on his face, the same silence, maybe, that his grandpa had worn that night. I just stared at him. The fear in his voice felt real. The night around us grew heavier, and even the calm in the air started to feel uneasy. That night when Grandpa wheeled his old bicycle back inside, the Diwali lamps were still burning, but somehow their glow felt dimmer. The light was there, yeah, but the peace was. His clothes were soaked in sweat, his chest still pounding like he'd been racing a storm. Before stepping in, he paused and looked back at the street. It was empty, yet he could feel someone watching him. That eerie cold feeling, like a stare cutting through the night. He whispered under his breath, "Ram Nam Satya Hai," and stepped inside. Grandma was standing by the door, arms crossed. "Oh, finally. The whole neighborhood's asleep and now you decide to come home. Still playing cards, huh?" Grandpa didn't answer. He just lowered his head. His tongue wanted to ask just one question: where's the Madarsa? When he grabbed a glass of water, his hand trembled so bad it almost slipped. Grandma frowned. "You must be exhausted. Go to bed." He shook his head. "I'll just step out for a minute." "What, at this hour?" she said, surprised. "What's left to see outside?" But he didn't reply, just slipped out quietly. The street looked the same, only quieter. The smoke from the fireworks had settled. The air was cold, and the leftover Diwali lamps flickered weakly in the wind. Grandpa told himself maybe it was just his head messing with him, but his gut whispered, no, something's off. He walked the same route where he'd met that strange, skinny old man earlier. Every turn, every shadow was burned into his memory, and yet each corner sent a chill up his spine. First turn, nothing. Second turn, a small rock that wasn't there before. Third, the air suddenly felt colder. At the fourth corner, he froze. Someone was standing there, a faint shadow, tall and thin, dressed in white, completely still. Grandpa blinked, and in that second the shadow moved like the wind had broken it apart. He muttered, "Shri Ram, protect me," and walked on. The street was lined with diyas on both sides, but the middle path was pitch dark. From that darkness came a voice, slow, cold, whispering. "Where's the Madarsa?" Grandpa's feet locked. This time the voice wasn't behind him, it came from right ahead. He slowly lifted his eyes, and there he was. The same man, same white clothes, same long beard. Only now his face was clearer. His eyes locked straight into Grandpa's, hollow and lifeless. Grandpa didn't say a word. He just turned around and ran. The bicycle stood forgotten somewhere behind, he didn't care. His shoes scraped against the dirt, breath heavy and uneven. The alley seemed to stretch endlessly. Every turn looked the same. Every time he thought he recognized the way home, he'd find himself looping back. The lamps looked like they were turning away from him. The light itself didn't want to follow. He stopped at a small roadside temple, hopping for some peace. The bell there was swinging slightly, but making no sound. He folded his hands and whispered, "God, if this is punishment for something I've done, forgive me. Just let me find my way back." Then a cold gust blew past. The diya in front of the temple flickered and went out. His heart dropped. He turned and saw the man again. Closer now, eyes empty. Grandpa bolted. The whole neighborhood felt like a spinning maze, one same corner again and again, like the streets had swallowed him up. "I've lived here all my life," he thought, "so why does it feel like this isn't my town anymore?" Then he spotted it, the big old people tree near his house. Relief hit him. He ran faster, but when he got close, someone was standing under it. Half his face in light, half in shadow. Same man. Same words. "Where's the Madarsa?" Grandpa looked back. The entire street was now drowned in darkness. Every single lamp had gone out at once. The only way home was straight through that man. He shut his eyes, whispered the Hanuman Chalisa, and sprinted straight through. When he finally reached home, he was gasping, his face pale as chalk. Grandma opened the door. The dirt that fell off his feet was black and damp, like mud from a graveyard. "What happened?" she asked. Grandpa just said quietly, "That man, I don't think he let me go." He didn't sleep that night, not a wink. By morning, his eyes were bloodshot, his pulse unsteady. The neighbors said the diyas outside his house were still burning at sunrise, but here's the strange part. No one had lit them again. And the creepiest thing, some kids swore they heard someone whisper, "Salam," at the end of the street that night. But when they looked, there was no one there. Morning came, but for Grandpa, that night still hadn't ended. The first rays of sunlight drowned the Diwali lamps, but the darkness on his face stayed the same. Grandma set up the prayer plate, rang the bell, but Grandpa didn't even lift his eyes. He just muttered, "I can still feel him around me." Grandma tried to laugh it off. "Who are you talking about? The guy from your dream last night." Grandpa stayed silent. A few neighbors stood outside the courtyard. They'd never seen him like this before, pale face, dark circles, and a strange, dragging way of walking. Someone asked, "Mr. Ram Prasad, you all right? You look kinda sick." He forced a weak smile, just a bit heavy in the head. "Saw something strange last night." Another man chuckled. "It's Diwali, man. Everyone sees strange stuff. Ghost stories are part of the package." But Grandpa didn't smile back. Even in broad daylight, he could feel that shadow. No matter where he went, it felt like eyes followed him. He stopped by the temple, folded his hands, but his focus wasn't on the prayer. His eyes kept drifting toward that street. The same one where he'd met that man. By noon, Grandpa tried to shake it off. "Enough," he told himself. "I'll forget everything today." But just as he was leaving for the market, some neighborhood kids ran up to him. Uncle Ram Prasad, we saw something last night." He froze. "What did you see?" A small boy said, "There was a man outside your house, dressed in white. He asked us, 'Where's the Madarsa?'" Grandpa's knees almost gave out. He asked softly, "What did you tell him?" The kids said, "We ran away, but when we looked back there was no one." Grandpa headed straight for the temple. His steps dragged, like he was carrying something heavy on his back. He told the priest, "Pandit Jai, I think something following me." The priest folded his hands and said, "Ram Prasad, when a spirit loses its path, it follows the living. It needs to be set free." "How?" Grandpa asked. "Go back to the place where you met him," the priest said. "Take flowers, holy water, and a lamp. Pray that the spirit finds its way home." Grandpa thought maybe this was his only way out. Evening rolled in. The sun dipped low, the wind turned cold again. Grandma tried to stop him. "It's getting dark, don't go now." But Grandpa said, "If I don't go tonight, he'll stay with me forever." He took the prayer plate filled with flowers and stepped out. The streets were empty again, burnt firecrackers, broken lamps, smoke still hanging in the air. For the first time, his neighborhood felt unfamiliar, like the walls themselves had turned their backs on him. When he reached the same spot where he first met the man, the air grew colder. He set the plate on the ground and whispered, "Whoever you are, if you need help, may God show you the way. I release you." He lit a small lamp, but a gust of wind blew it out immediately. He lit another, same thing. He bent down to light the third one, and then came that voice right behind him. "Where's the Madarsa?" He turned around, nothing there. The leaves rustled, and then the voice came again, closer this time. "Where's the Madarsa?" His throat went dry. His hands shook so bad the plate almost slipped. He started chanting, "Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya." But the more he chanted, the stronger the wind got, howling, spinning around him. In the dark, a figure began to take shape, that same tall, frail man. White clothes, long beard, and now his face didn't even look human anymore. It looked like clay melting away, piece by piece. His lips didn't move, but the voice echoed, low and steady. "Where's the Madarsa?" Grandpa pressed his palms together. "I can't tell you the way. Please leave me alone." The man stood still for a few seconds, then slowly stepped back. Fading into the darkness like the wind, swallowed him whole. Grandpa collapsed to the ground. The plate fell, flowers scattered, and the wind suddenly stopped. The dogs in the neighborhood silent, not one bark. At dawn, people found him sitting near the temple, eyes open, hands folded, completely still. When someone touched his shoulder, he blinked once and whispered, "He didn't leave me, now I am his path." No one really understood what he meant. But after that day, Grandpa never walked past the temple again. And every Diwali after that, he refused to light a single lamp. He used to say, "The brighter the light I make, the easier it is for him to find me." And the weirdest part, after every Diwali, someone in the neighborhood swore they heard that same voice again. "Where's the Madarsa?" After that night, the whole village started to feel off. Grandpa barely spoke anymore, kept to himself, eyes hollow, face pale, like something unseen followed him everywhere he went. My friend said, that night didn't just end there. Whatever happened stuck with him for a long, long time. One early morning, Grandpa was sitting near the old mosque when his old buddy Gopal came by. He said, "Dude, you look rough. Everything okay?" Grandpa replied quietly, "I saw that man again." Gopal frowned, half laughing. "What man?" Grandpa slowly closed his eyes. "The one who asked for the Madarsa." Gopal's face went pale. "Bro, you've lost it. That thing wasn't even human." Grandpa nodded, his voice flat. "I know, but he's still here, somewhere around." That evening, some villagers saw Grandpa walking alone toward those same twisted old alleys where it all began. The road was cracked and muddy, with rusted gates hanging off broken walls on both sides. The air smelled weird, like a mix of burnt cloth and something rotten buried deep in the soil. He stopped near an old stone platform. A few stones were scattered around, and in the center something was carved into the dirt, faded and half-buried. Grandpa brushed the dust away with his hand. It read, "Madarsa, it begins here." He froze, looked around. The alley was completely empty. Only the wind moved. He whispered, "Madarsa, but there's nothing here." And then, faintly, like a voice rising from under the ground, came a whisper. "Told you, the Madarsa is right here." Grandpa's whole body went numb. He turned, no one there. But the soil beneath his feet started trembling like something was pushing up from below. He stumbled back as a tall figure began to rise out of the ground, same white clothes, same long beard, but this time, his eyes were pitch black. No life in them, just endless dark. Grandpa backed up, shouting, "What the hell do you want from me?" The figure spoke slowly, voice flat and cold. "I didn't come to ask the way. I came to show you where the Madarsa is." The thing's feet didn't even touch the ground. It just floated, gliding forward. It lifted a bony finger and pointed toward an old, half-collapsed house at the edge of the alley. On its door, faded letters read, "Nuri Islam Madarsa, 1931. Grandpa stared in shock. He'd never seen that house before. No one in the village had. It was like the place had just appeared for one night only. He hesitated, then pushed the creaky door. It opened by itself. Inside was nothing but darkness, yet somewhere deep within, a faint glow shimmered like something alive inside the dark. He took one cautious step in, and everything changed. Whispers filled his ears, children reciting verses, soft laughter, echoes that didn't belong to this world. Torn pages from old Qurans were stuck to the walls, fluttering without any wind. From each page, a thin mist leaked out, curling like smoke. He spun around. The door was shut tight. He tried pulling it open, but it wouldn't move. And then he saw him. That same man standing right there in front of him, tall, hollow, lifeless. The man said, "Now you'll see, this is your lesson." Grandpa shut his eyes tight and started chanting prayers, trembling. The darkness swirled, the walls shook, and that man's face began to crack and crumble into smoke. Voices echoed from all around, deep and layered. "End the game, or it'll be called upon again." By morning, people found Grandpa unconscious near the same alley. In his hand was an old, crumpled page, yellowed with age, written in faded ink. When he finally woke up, he only said one thing: "Don't ever go back to that house. That Madarsa is still there." My friend paused for a long moment before continuing. After that day, my grandpa never went near that alley again. He kept that page with him till the day he died, and when he passed, that page was still in his hand. I went silent. The room felt dead still. No wind, no sound, just that heavy air pressing down. The look on my friend's face, it was the same fear that must have lived inside his grandpa's eyes. He whispered, barely audible, "The Madarsa is still there. It just doesn't show itself to everyone." And after that night, he never told that story again. If you felt the chill, hit like before the lights go out. Subscribe before he finds you too. And share, so you're not the only one who knows the story.